All right, I'm going to make some very easy, simple, in and out of the kitchen, no fuss, cornbread this cornbread is so moist, fluffy, thick and fluffy, delicious. I usually use Jiffy. I grew up on Jiffy until I start looking at the back of how much sodium is in the Jiffy, and this has like over 3.5 times less sodium. I'll show you later in the vid than Jiffy has, but I still love Jiffy. It's just these days I'm trying to cut the sodium in any kind of way I can. My blood pressure um, is greatly reduced. In fact, I've got my blood pressure down from 170s and 180s down to 128 to 131 over 80. And it was averaging like 178, 186 over 86 and 92 and all that. So even in my teens, I've struggled to get my blood pressure out of the 150s, the high 150s. So if I can find a way to cut sodium, I will do it. And like I said, this cornbread mix is called Simply Homemade. It has way less sodium than the Jiffy. I have some 2% reduced fat milk. I have some sour cream. You can use reduced fat sour cream. I just so happen to only have this regular sour cream, unsalted butter, an egg, the mix. That's it. It's going to make the biggest chunks of fluffy, soft, tender, moist cornbread ever. I'm telling you, wait till you see it. So let me get started with this cornbread. I hope everybody's doing okay. If you like, share, and subscribe and hit the notification bell, I appreciate it. Your support of this channel is greatly appreciated. And that's it. Let me get into this cornbread. This is super easy cornbread. This is probably going to be one of my shortest vids ever. But let me set to it. Easy peasy cornbread. So I wanted to come back and add this. I had no idea, but this cornbread, this particular brand of cornbread, it's called Simply Homemade. It has so much less sodium in the package mix and even as prepared. Let me see if I can zoom in a little there. So it has 240 milligrams of sodium just in the dry mix, but as prepared, 280 mix per serving, which is a square, a 1 to 2 inch square. And I'm going to come back and look at the other, nutrition facts, but let's look at the Jiffy. This is Jiffy mix, and Jiffy has per half a cup, so per serving, 690 milligrams of sodium in the dry mix and 730 milligrams of sodium prepared. For the carbs, 56 grams and 57 grams. For the fat, 9 grams and 12 grams. And for this, Simply Homemade cornbread mix, as you can see, a lot better for everything. 1 gram of fat, 6 grams of fat when you prepare it. 25 milligrams of cholesterol prepared, whereas the Jiffy is 80 milligrams of cholesterol prepared. And the sugars especially, 8 grams of sugar. That's, as a diabetic, what I'm really looking at. But 8 grams of sugar for dry mix, 9 grams prepared. Jiffy has 15 grams of sugars. And 15 and 16 grams of sugars, total sugars, including the added sugars. But as far as total carbohydrate, total carbs, 56 grams and 57 grams to the 21 and 22 grams here, and total sugars, added sugars. Whereas Jiffy's added sugar is like 15, this one is 8. So, Jiffy is a staple. I grew up with Jiffy. But I was just thinking, when I eat cornbread, I eat a lot of it. I like to make really big cornbread muffins. Um, I had no idea that it had so much sodium. You don't really, you taste some, but you don't taste that much. But this is something that I'm going to be trying out and see how it goes. I'm going to make it as prepared. I'll probably add a little sour cream. But I think I'm going to start buying this nowadays more so than the Jiffy, especially being that it has so much less sodium and fat and cholesterol and especially sugars in it. So I just wanted to come back and add that. I know there's still some diehard Jiffy fans, and I still love Jiffy, but I'm definitely going to give this a try. And it's made by Fleischmann's Simply Homemade Cornbread Mix. I hope you will try it out as well. All right. Peace out. All right, family, so let me get started. So to this batter, I'm going to add about 2/3 of a cup of milk. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it. So, and if you ever add too much milk, all you have to do is if you have a little bit of flour or something like that and add it to it and, make it less gloppy and gloopy and all that. 1 egg, and yeah, I know my grandmother always told me to crack an egg in a bowl first, but I don't really feel like it today. I just cracked it right in there. And she always said to crack an egg in a bowl because you might get a bad egg. And then you've already added it to whatever you've added it to. But I'm good. And that egg is nice and fresh. And I am adding a nice dollop of sour cream. A nice dollop of sour cream there. I have a little bit of butter. The recipe calls for 2/3 of a, not 2/3, a 1/4 of a cup of butter, but I'm only, I'm trying to cut down so on cholesterol and all that. So I just added maybe about, that was about maybe a tablespoon or so of butter. Some people like to add a little sugar. I'm good. I used to add a lot of sugar to, cornbread mix, make it super sweet. This is pretty sweet without being, like too sweet. That sour cream is going to make this so nice. You don't have to beat this, mix this to death. Just make sure everything is incorporated really well. The egg and the sour cream, and that's good. Don't beat it to death because you will make it, tough. So I'm going to get my batter into my pan. I've sprayed it generously with nonstick cooking spray. If you use butter, feel free to butter your pan up. My oven is preheated to 375, and if you guys who are familiar with used to using Jiffy know that Jiffy is like 425. This is also like double the amount of that little teeny tiny box of Jiffy too. So so just spread the batter fairly evenly. I like to get every little bit of batter out of the bowl. I'm very OCD about that. If it's cake batter, if it's cornbread batter, if it's, whatever it is, sauce, anything in a jar or bowl, I'm like going crazy trying to get every last single bit out. So, like I said, make sure it's pretty even. And I always like to, before I get the mixture into the oven, and my oven is still preheating, but I like to get a little bit of butter, some little slivers of butter at the top, just a little bit. So I like to put a little butter, unsalted butter, like here and there. And you don't have to, cover it with butter, but it's so beautiful when it comes out like this. It's beautiful even without the butter, but it's really nice with it. And as you can see, I'm not adding a ton, just little slivers here and there. Family, this is ready for my oven. All I'm doing is waiting for it to get to that 375. And I'm about to pop this in the oven. How easy was that? When you want a really quick cornbread, this is like the way to go. A boxed cornbread, and kind of trick it out to make it super moist. So I'm just gonna wait for my oven to be preheated to 375, and then I'm gonna pop this baby into my hot 375-degree oven. All right, so about 20 to 25 minutes on 375, and then I'm going to be right back with some nice hot golden cornbread that is better for you because it has less sodium and less butter. So 20 to 25 minutes, 375. I'm going to get this in my hot oven. All right, that cornbread is out of the oven. It is nice and brown, golden brown. I did put it under on broil for about for less than a minute, actually. Less than a minute on broil. But look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. That little bit of butter that, I melted on the top, or you always can feel free to add a little extra butter as soon as it comes out of the oven. So I'm going to just let this cool off. It did not take even 30 minutes. So I had this cornbread in the oven for 25 minutes. Beware of what the box says, because the box will say 30 and 35 and 40 minutes and stuff like that. And this only took about 25 minutes. And then I checked it after 25 minutes. And then the remaining 5 minutes, I just put this on broil to let it get really brown at the top, and for less than a minute. So it took about 26 minutes. But then again, ovens do vary. So that could account for it as well. But I'm going to let this cool off. It's so beautiful, so sexy. And going to let it, give it about maybe 25-30 minutes to cool off. And then I'm going to cut a piece, show you how nice and moist, thick, rich, especially with that sour cream. I was able to use less butter because I used that huge wallop of sour cream. So, I usually get reduced fat sour cream. This time I only had a little bit of the regular sour cream left, but please use reduced fat sour cream if you're going to use less butter in the recipe. It does cut the fat content. So be right back in about a half hour. Look at that. Yum. Alright guys, that cornbread is out of the oven. It's nice and cooled off. I started making a nice little slice, and It has been a long day. I am so tired. Look at that. Um, so, oh, that's so good. So I just want to show you the inside. See how nice and rich and moist and tender and sweet. I didn't even add any additional sugar. And that's nice and sweet. And all it needs is just a little butter on top. It's nice and moist. It's so soft. It's so delicious. Take my camera off the tripod. Sorry for my hand there. I hope you guys will make this delicious cornbread. I love cornbread, all kinds. I still love Jiffy, even though it has more salt. It's just delicious. Alright guys, look at that nice, tender, fluffy. Look, it's crumbly. That's how moist it is from that sour cream. Just a little butter on the top, and if I hadn't let it cool off, it would be melted. But little crumb there. It's so delicious. Cornbread is so homey and delicious. You can have it with chili. You can have it with soups, barbecue, any kind of dinner. I mean, I can't really think of anything that cornbread does not go well with, and it brings back so many memories for me of growing up in the kitchen with my grandmother making cornbread, and she would make cornbread almost every single weekend. So I want to thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing in any way that you support this channel. I appreciate it. Everybody stay safe, take care. Until next time, that be more check out. Peace.